you have to be careful how you word that, because you don't want to lowball it, because that's not really fair either to our understanding of how things are gonna work.
So, isn't all we were wanting to know is if they want to say, what is it,
$2,500
to apply
Right.
for the grant? And
To get more
that's the next
information.
step, is not-
Right.
And then if you better question.
No. Right, it's the next step.
But I don't know, I mean, I'm trying to derive, steer away from their point, but ultimately, that's all we're really wanting information for is, do we want to spend the $2,500?
Right.
Our money,
Our money, that's all of our money, yeah.
a grant that we got already that started this process.
Right, because we got the first bid,
Yeah, we're out of that money,
Yeah,
and you want to spend $2,500 of the village's money
and that is
to
all.
apply for the grant,
So why don't we
which
put
tells us, hopefully, the
Yes,
but if we put it that way, yes, no, need, and the third option being need more information, and in parentheses put with asking for more information, you are giving the board your permission to pursue spending more money to get more information, or something along the lines of that, like, just be upfront that if you need more information, you have to spend more money to get that more
Yeah, that's
information.
ultimately, I mean, I
And
don't
if
want
that's the third option versus the
to come off that
side.
we're trying to vote on putting a sewer in tomorrow.
Yeah, that's
You know what I mean?
right.
The thing is,
That makes
what's
sense.
the $2,500?
Yeah.
That's the question.
Right, that's a good point. It is, because we don't know
Me
the
too.
cost until we do the next step.
Well, if,
And we just want to know if people are
We already just said
interested.
that if we can't
Yeah,
get a grant,
that's
it's
a
feasible.
goal of things.
There you go. All the
They
surveys,
quite
spend
come to
the $2,500 to find out you get a grant.
Right.
Yes or no?
Yeah, no, but so you get to the point that some people $100 would be able to work on right now, so.
Exactly, but we need to know, do you want to spend the $2,500 to find out?
Find out.
That's all I'm getting at.
And that's what the survey.
Ultimately, and I don't mean to sound like that, that's irrelevant right now. Do you want to spend the $2,500 to find out what the actual cost is, to see if it is feasible or not? What's feasible? Do we get the grant? No, that's not feasible.
Assume that's non-refundable.
Correct.
The
Yes.
2,500, yeah, I don't think anyone is gonna give that.
Yeah, but that is correct. We don't know any
And I'm
other
with you, I'd like to know what it costs.
Yeah.
So that goes to Steve's point about knowing what you're voting. Do you want to keep throwing $2,500? Because I remember a time when they said, well, the survey is the last time we're going to spend money, and now it's $2,500.
Yes, but that,
I get it, we were told that.
the survey would give you, trustees, the knowledge to know, is the village in favor of spending $2,500 more to get all the information they need to pursue or not to pursue with.
That's all the survey is about.
That's all it was.
Then maybe the questions themselves need to be tweaked for the survey. Because I guarantee you, if more money's spent and the people feel like they didn't get to vote on the money being spent, they're gonna feel played.
And that's why they can come in, that's why we're still gonna
But
have
I'm
the
saying,
same person's
but
survey.
the survey card needs to reflect that, Joyce.
Need more information, with a little bit of information about how, to get more information, you have to spend X amount of dollars.
I think the only thing I would say is kind of playing devil's advocate, need more information, need what. So if I feel like I need more information, like broadly, like I need to know more about what the village is gonna secure, right? Like that might be more information I would need, which I would say, theoretically, that would be true of everyone at some level. Or is it need more information like, I don't understand what information you have now. So I think you have to clarify what you mean by that, but maybe like there's a little narrative piece at the top that says, kind of at this point, no decision has been made about whether we proceed with the next step would be to see if there are grant funds available. And the cost to do that would be $2,500 to pursue the grant. That would just let us know whether it is even possible that a sewer system could be obtained. I mean, that's where if it's even possible, you're going to have to get all that grant money. So you could put something like that, which makes it very clear, like here's where we are, what you're voting on now is whether you want to spend the money to see if we can get a grant. And that it's clear that you're not offering an ultimate opinion on what you want to do. It's really would you like your board of trustees to pursue that?
that's more what I was indicating, for people to have that knowledge up front without handing them scads of info.
That's uncertain right now.
And with the disclosure that this is not a decision.
Yeah.
Right.
This is
And then they
just-
could still come in and get all the info they need or want.
I could propose some language and send it, and then you guys could talk about it at the study session and decide if you like it or not. You guys can tweak it and do whatever you want with it. So then that would be a simple yes or no.
Right, that would be a simple yes or no, no one just.
And it would be very upfront and very clear.
Because that's exactly where we are.
Right.
Well, and I think you're right, Jen, then that is really simple, yes or no.
Right.
Either I like the idea of spending some money to get more information, or I don't, right? You don't have to necessarily have a no. Right.
There's still the issue of when you apply for that grant and you get approved for it, you receive the money, and that grant is tied to the septic sewer system. You can't give that money back in a grant.
Well, but
Once you apply for that, it's a go.
But just because anyone would get approved for a grant, just because you got approved for a loan to buy a house, doesn't mean you can't say, nah, I really don't want that.
But you're applying for it. You're spending the money to apply for that grant, which means that you are in earnest going to move forward once you receive that application
I
grant.
think you're assuming facts that don't necessarily exist at this point.
Well, that's something that has to be clarified then with the IEPA. Then.
Well, I can tell you with certainty that just because they approve you for a grant does not mean you have to accept it. It is an approval, and absolutely at that point, what would happen is the village board would review those documents, I would review those documents, I would talk to the IEPA's attorney about those documents, and we would come back and say, here's the risk if we accept it, here's the risk if we don't. Here are all the facts. Does the board want to accept the grant or not? And maybe the board says yes, and maybe the board says no. But until you know if you get the grant, A, I can't tell you what it says, and B, the system is a complete no-go if you can't get the grant.
If that is indeed how it works, then fair enough. That'd be fine. And then we could decide, yeah, we do want to spend the application money to apply for that. And is it really worth it?
That wording in there in order.
Steve, I do know that through FEMA, when we applied for the fire department, we only get the money when we sign the paper saying we're taking the money.
I see. But at the application process, or there's a second, first there's an application process, you sign your names to apply.
Right.
And then there's a second signature step that you accept. There's an acceptance step.
They've approved it, and then you have to sign
Right.
documents saying that you're taking the money.
Okay.
Because you have to agree to accept those terms, right? When I applied for something, unless they gave me, 50 pages of terms, I'm just saying, look, I'm interested in knowing whether these funds might be available to me, whether it be for a house or a sewer project or whatever.
Okay.
When they come back to me, they're going to say, this is how much we would give you. Here are the terms, here's the rate, here's whatever they're going to tell you. And then you're going to read through that and you're going to go, that was really nice, but yeah. Or, yeah, this seems like it makes sense.
The way things I see over the last several years of elections and everything like that, surveys and everything, if you get 50%, you're going to be very lucky. I'll be very honest with you, you're going to be very lucky.
You mean 50% response?
Right.
Yeah.
You send out 218, you get 100. That's going to be a very good day.
Yeah. And we would have to use that we could
And you
use the
can
other
sit here,
entities who turned them
you
in.
can sit here and pound that thing in the ground, and some people are going to say, hey, leave me alone.
Yeah, I
Leave
don't
me here
care.
in town.
Yeah.
To be very honest with you. So if you're going to you send out the survey, if you get 50% or more 50, I'll be very surprised.
And would we have to be firm on our deadline? Whatever
That's
deadline we have.
my
to
next
be
comment.
Yeah.
I apologize to the board for the phone use here because I had no clue that I was going to be so popular tonight. And we're going to have a discussion about that when I get a hold of you, knucklehead.
I love knucklehead. I hadn't heard that for a long time.
But What, knucklehead?
Yeah.
My dad was, I was one of those all the time. Anyway, I had a couple of questions. One, when are the final dates for the count to be ended? You know, and will the surveyors, that's the people who will be doing this, or sitting there, have a checklist and an initial or signature proof of actual being asked? In other words, if I come in and they look and I ask the question, okay, where you coming to do thing? I can't come in again. I can come in again, but I can't vote again.
And that's what we were saying, one official list.
One list, and then the third thing, will the ballots be counted in public? In other words,
Should be.
So I think yeses and nos should be, I don't think you should say people's names. I think
No,
that's- But yeses and nos.
how many yeses, how many no's, what's the percentage, blah, blah, that's what I'm not talking about people's names, I don't.
No. You could just everybody's ballot that you can has the PIN number for the property. And that way you know everybody's gonna have one number because it's gonna be directly tied to the property.
When we have a list of what we send out, so we have some machines to be checking on. I said that would be.
And then we still have to decide if people are coming in, if they have 3 PIN numbers, they get 3 ballots.
See, I think it should just be how you get to vote for your board members, as in, you get one vote.
So I'm gonna go against that.
I would go against it.
Yeah.
Say a property owner has 10 properties and it really affects their pocketbook and they wanna vote no, because it's gonna cost, I'm just gonna grab a number, say it's gonna cost $500 to decommission or hook up or whatever. That's a lot of money times 10, that's a lot of no votes or a lot of yes votes. It affects them, their pocketbook more than it affects my pocketbook.
They get one vote.
In some sense though, but then there's low income people that $100 is the same as $1,000 to the next
I
person.
get that.
So there's that catch-22 with that as well.
Exactly, that would go around.
But that person's gonna know how many properties they have here. They're gonna say, ooh.
And they should have that opportunity, I feel like.
But they do it once because they know they have 5
Vote by
properties.
property.
They don't wanna do that.
They made a choice to buy that many properties.
Yes, sir.
So it doesn't matter whether you have 1 or 10, you should get 1 vote.
I don't agree.
Does it mean more, not mean more in terms of like a particular vote, but does it mean more if I'm affected 10 times than if I'm affected 1 time?
I think it does.
Because if you own 10 properties and you say yes, they don't
That's
get to
saying
count
something.
1, then, you know, that's not really being.
I guess the other piece of
But when you go to vote for a board member, it doesn't matter if they have 15
But
houses.
we're not
Right.
voting on a board member, we're not paying money out of our.
I know, so I still think, I mean, even if there's a referendum on a ballot, they would get 1 vote.
You're right on that, true.
So it doesn't matter which way you want to look at it, whatever you vote for in a legitimate voting period, you get 1.
And that one person that owns 5 properties, they gotta sit and think, okay, it's gonna cost me $5,000 to decommission all these, you know, I'm just throwing numbers out there. Or, you know, so no, they're gonna have this in their mind, how much it's gonna cost them, and that's gonna weigh on their 1 vote.
And they're gonna rent them out, they're gonna rent
And
them
they're
out,
gonna push
charge it
cost
out
to
to
the
the
renters.
renters. It ain't gonna cost them no money. They're gonna rent it out to, it's gonna cost the renter. It doesn't cost the property owner.
So I
It
guess
does not
the
cost
question
property.
is, you know, we want to do the simple survey with the wording as Elizabeth said she would send
I
to
cannot
the
trust the
trustees.
proposal.
And then, is that going to next week to decide when they want to do the sample surveys?
Yeah, I think so too, because that's, we just want to know what to do for the next step.
So the proposal would be for next Thursday to talk about, to agree how to word it and.
Yeah. So I can prepare something and send it out, like early next week.
Okay.
Sometime before the study. Just because I'll say it's really simple to do, and then I'll sit down and I'll like type something, and then I'll delete, and then I'll type something more, because I want to think through exactly how, so I want to give it some time so they can get you guys something, and then you guys can change it how you want to, but at least it needs a starting point.
They're still talking about it.
If you could
I
have
think
that
it is.
before
I think
the
it's
end.
going to be perfect.
I have another voting question, but it's not as complicated. I know for a fact there are a number of people who leave here right after Thanksgiving to head to Florida. So is there a way that they can vote early, or at least you can keep record once you've got the PIN number? I mean, there's gotta be a way so that they're not excluded from the vote if it happens after they leave, or if somebody ends up falling sick or something. I mean, surely there's a way.
It was gonna go out before Thanksgiving.
But I mean, again, just thinking about things that happen, and people who especially want to vote will probably come find you, and people who don't care won't. But just putting it out there.
One option you could do is, if you're not gonna send out like this survey, right? Depending on what the board decides to do, the survey's gonna be here, and people are gonna come here to do it, as opposed to like sending it or whatever. Is you could just tell people if you're gonna be out of town, or unable, let's say somebody cannot physically come to, that they can call and request a copy of the survey, and then you can take the survey number that relates to that person, and you can send it or deliver it to them.
Mail usually gets forwarded too.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially for vacation.
Temporary vacation. Yeah.
And if for some reason none of these times are going to work for you, please contact a member of the village board to discuss making alternative arrangements.
That would be doable. I mean, if it works for you guys.
One thing I wanted to mention, Don Lafayette, who is an engineer that was here at the last meeting, I know some people are not real happy with their grant. Would you be interested in asking Don if he would be interested, in this project?
Or I would say even evaluating the feasibility study. So that I think is a good. He was much more personable.
Yes, he was, very much so.
And more willing to take the time to explain it so that we can all understand. Yeah, exactly. I think that he would be joined in and seeing what the cost would be, right? So.
And he might have opinions on a different direction to go as far as the wastewater plant itself.
I found that when he gives me estimates, he's true to those estimates. Now, he may say, I can't know until I spend time going through it, but I think my understanding is he and his firm have reviewed enough of these over time that he probably knows what he's looking for. So I would suggest if there's any interest, it would be more a going to Lawrence Clancy and saying, the village board might have some interest in having a second set of eyes on this. What would the cost be for you to review it?
The question in that review is the one point that came up about the laterals and the cost for laterals. That will come up in the construction bids, correct? And that will be the difference between what the engineering firm has quoted and what will come up in the contracts, correct?
I guess, what do you mean by that?
Like
The actual connecting from a household?
Yeah, and then the streets and whatnot, because Randy was saying a lot of those at the one meeting on the 6th were dropped, and that they didn't show really anywhere, and that the costs were not covering those. They just weren't high enough in his estimate.
No, I think that's a really good point. Yes, we would see that.
So that would show up then later, correct?
It would. Yeah, and I think the other piece of that is, so after all those meetings, there's some other people who are engineers, so I asked some questions just because I was curious, and they said there are also additional grants that will pay just for those lateral connections. Now, I didn't ask them anything more about that, like what's the timeline and what is required, but they said.
Well, I mean, I know that's down the road, but I just thought I'd ask right now, since we're looking for more information and where we'll catch that.
Well, so theoretically, the benefit of another engineer looking at it would be they speak engineering language, right? So if it's somebody who could boil it down to terms that people could understand, there may be some real benefit in that. Maybe there's not. I don't know. But I think, I don't know if it's worth it to get a cost estimate. If you said it was going to be $200, maybe that's $200 well worth spending. If he says it's going to be $2,000, maybe that's something completely different, right? We have to do a survey.
It's always a good practice to get multiple prices for sure. It's just how much money do we wanna pay?
It's a couple $100, I think that's good.
I'll do whatever we do the first survey to see what we even have.
Oh, even before doing this.
No, even that.
I agree, but I think it's something to think about.
Yeah.
After the survey comes out.
If there's no one way or another,
Because he did a much better job.
And if the board's interested, I could at least ask him, yeah, I mean, it's not gonna, the board's gonna have to just, vote on if they wanted to retain him, but, if he said to me, either A, no, I don't like looking at other engineers' work and offering opinions, because I know professionals who just don't like doing that, or if he said, yeah, but it's gonna cost X amount, at least his information is good for you guys, you don't have to decide what you wanna do.
The thing I liked about him was that he actually listened. He actually really listened and then responded to what people said. He wasn't just giving a spiel.
Because he had no dog in the fight, so. That's the other.
If he becomes a big dog trying to fight him. But I get the impression that that's not who he is.
And I don't think so either. And I've dealt with him in other situations, where I'm not on the municipal side, where I'm on the other side of it. I found that his kind of approach is the same no matter what, right? Like, these are the facts, this is what he presents, what you want to do with it is up to you. I've always found him to be pretty.
Yeah.
So who's going to be in charge of calling him?
Well, and again, the village board needs to tell me, I would just. Do you have any interest in if you did, what would it cost, and then I would.
I think it'd be nice to talk to him before the next study session.
The board isn't interested in doing anything right now, I'm just collecting information. I can talk. Because again, if it's outrageous, decision made.
or if you don't wanna look at somebody else's engineering.
Right. I mean, he very well may say, I don't like doing that, because I know doctors who feel that way, engineers who feel that way, lawyers don't like reviewing somebody else's work and offering opinions about it anyway.
Say that he did.
And he explained.
He took some fire too.
Yeah. Well, that was before we all realized what he was really doing. We didn't know. I felt a little bad about that.
Okay, so are there any other questions as far as, when you want the survey to take place? You want it to be completed by November 15th?
Good for the first week of December.
Yeah, I think it's the
Okay.
same.
What's going to be completed though?
The results.
That's when we're gonna open the results and.
Oh,
Yes.
When?
Surveys.
Sixth of December.
Oh, December first, okay.
So open December 1st.
so that means that residents.
We can finalize our study session, what it, the survey.
And how we're gonna, so we just.
Right.
So I'll try to put the format so it has places where you can just stick in the sheets. Yeah. And then you can modify it, but I'll try to have like the general format there.
And then, another fact, going back, we've done with you, back and forth with the property. What about with the survey, what we did like Jim said, it's like they put on ballot too, but you get a hard number back, you'll know how much it's gonna cost to connect to the house. And all the work it's gonna take for you.
Yeah.
And then that vote could be more towards, each individual property that would hook up to it.
That's, I mean, you put it on that window.
And we do intend to put it on there.
So I just want to make a clear reference. So yes, my understanding is the board would intend for that to happen. I just want to make it clear that